7 days had already passed at the beach house. The vacation was a whirlwind, over before it even started. They always went that way. So much money and time spent getting everything perfect, only for time to be swallowed whole, leaving Jackson hollow and tired. Vacations never recharged him, even though he told himself they would. There's more lies to keep him going. Shelley, his bright-eyed wife, was off soaking up the sun on the beach. Little Darcy was napping in her carrier, giving Jackson a moment of alone time. He sat staring at his phone in the living room of the rental. A decorative wall clock with crustaceans and starfish garishly plastered all over it ticked away, reminding him of the drive home tomorrow, of the wasted trip. His toes clenched in his flip-flops. Tick-tock, over and over. He tossed the phone on the couch cushion beside him and started pacing the room. Why do I even try to relax? Thankfully, the ticking was drowned out by the heartbeat in his skull and his frantic footsteps. Glancing out of the extended windows overlooking the sea, he searched for Shelley. Her straw sun hat and bright green bikini stood out against the blazing sand. At least she was happy. He was surprised by how sincere it was, even spiraling into an anxiety attack. A slight smile spread across his face, only to be smothered by what he saw. The bald, swollen head caught his attention first. Its pink-gray dome steadily rose from the balcony staircase. Every second, more of the fat head crept into view, the sunlight reflecting oddly, like the skin stole the warmth and cast off dead cosmic radiation. Jackson stood, mouth hanging open. His heart crept up his throat, threatening to explode out of his neck. Time flowed differently. The head drifted up slowly. Somehow Jackson got the impression it was moving backwards in time, or maybe he was. The eyes crested the wooden floor of the balcony, or at least they should have. Two fleshy stalks protruded from the eye holes, each adorned with clusters of compound eyes. Crab eyes. Jackson was frozen in place. The world dissolved around him. Darcy let out a small whimper from across the room. Oh God. Whimpering gave way to crying. Jackson's instincts overcame him, and he finally looked away and rushed towards the baby carrier. Once she was secure in his hands, he looked back. It was gone. Shh, I've got you, Cece. Jackson held his daughter close, his focus divided between comforting her and scanning for where that thing went. Had he really seen that? It seemed so strange, so insane that he rationalized it as a hallucination. Darcy's little heart beat in his arm, steady and soft. It calmed him. He took a deep breath and slid the door to the balcony open slowly, ready to retreat inside if he needed. The low roar of the distant waves and calling gulls, the soundscape he told himself he loved, felt threatening. He peered over the railing, down the staircase, and saw no sign of intrusion. Not that he expected to see anything. He kissed Darcy on the forehead, her crying back down to whimpering. Nothing to worry about, sweetie. Your dad is just losing it. As he slid the door closed, his nose scrunched at the scent of something brackish, the odor of bait shrimp cooking in the sun. A chill of doubt blanketed his body. The sun sank. Jackson thumbed through the books the owner left, trying to distract himself. Shelley strode up the beach access, smiling to herself. The final night embraced them. Shelley stepped out of the bathroom with a towel wrapped around her. Her skin glowed like it was slowly emitting all the sunlight she absorbed on her last full day of vacation.
Thank you so much for watching, Cece. I needed to get some sun. These trips are so different now. She paused. Jackson watched TV in bed with Darcy beside him. Soon they would have to filter what they watched in front of her. Another thought she felt guilty for having. I love her, her therapist told her to remind herself when she felt this way. It will get easier, Shell. I have her too. Don't feel guilty for needing help. He swallowed a coal of emotions he refused to let surface. Then the smell returned. brine and ammonia cutting into the moment. "Did you go fishing today? You smell like a sailor," she laughed, tossing her towel at him. He didn't move. The color drained from his stunned face, the same look he had when she was giving birth. "What is it?" she asked. Her face shifted to match his. "Get over here." His eyes were locked on the closet door. His arm moved to get between the door and Darcy. Shelley followed his gaze and leapt to the bed, on the opposite side of Darcy. A puddle of dark water pooled under the ajar door. Tiny droplets dripped upwards. The sliver of darkness beyond the door was alive with moving shadows. "What is it?" Shelley whispered, sinking further behind Jackson. "I have no idea." He didn't look away from the door. He slid from the bed and gestured for Shelley to stay where she was. Shelley glared in disbelief as he made his way closer to the water. Time curled in on itself. Jackson's movements were familiar, like the scene played out an infinite number of times every second. The normal flow of time crashed down on Shelley like a wave when Jackson pushed the door open. The closet filled with light, revealing an inky black pool of water. The inky, decaying, fishy smell poured out into the bedroom. Shelley gagged slightly, and Darcy began scream-crying. Jackson stood in the doorway watching the water ripple and slosh, as if something had just disturbed it. His reflection in the fetid water looked back at him, but it was wrong. His face was bloated and sagged from his skull like a drowned cadaver. His eyes were black pits. Then movement. Those fleshy eye stalks again sprouted from the holes and met his gaze. A lightning-sharp sensation shot from his left foot to his heart. Blinding white pain exploded in his chest. He gasped, then fell back. The mattress spared his head from smacking the hardwood floor. Shelley screamed, and after failed attempts at resuscitation, called 911. It was all a blur of flashing lights, crying, and muffled questions from a cycling cast of first responders, nurses, and doctors. He sat up in the hospital bed. He felt tired, defeated. He felt old. Shelley sat with Darcy playing at her feet. "You're finally awake," she said with a weak smile. "How do you feel?" "I love you so much, Jack." "I love you," he said, his voice hardly above a whisper. As he shifted in the bed, he felt the skin pull tight down his sternum. "Open heart," she said. Her eyes lingered on Darcy as if she couldn't bear to see his reaction to the news. "Oh, I see." He strained to speak louder this time, but could only manage the same whisper. Shelley turned away, but he saw the tears running down her cheeks. A single teardrop slid down to her chin, then drifted upward toward the ceiling. Darcy looked up and giggled, reaching for it. Jackson could smell the salt in the air.
Some memories cling like burrs. You shake them, shove them down, tell yourself they'll fade, but they don't. This one hasn't. It started like any of our usual adventures. Me and my friends, John and Anthony, looking for something to do outdoors. Fishing trips, hiking, camping, we lived for that kind of thing. But boredom can make you stupid. It can make you curious about things you should never touch. And that day, it made us trespass. The property was huge, acres upon acres of farmland pressed against thick woods. We had been there once before, fishing in a creek nearby, only to get chased out by a farmer and his dog. He yelled, waved his arms, threatened to call the cops, though we realized halfway through his rant that he was already on the phone with someone else. That part struck us as weird, almost rehearsed. But we laughed about it later, thought it was funny even. And for whatever reason, that laugh carried us right back there the next evening. We entered through the tree line an hour before dusk, hoping to be gone before dark. The woods were dense, paths twisting in unnatural ways, but we'd studied the place on Google Maps. Still, the deeper we went, the more I realized how easy it would be to get lost. At first, it felt harmless. The horses came into view, beautiful, healthy animals grazing near a worn fence line. No bad vibes yet. I even pet one, thinking how odd it was that the entire property only had horses. No cows, no chickens, no pigs, just horses. But I shrugged it off. Maybe that was the owner's thing. Then we saw it. A rundown house sitting like a carcass in the distance. And surrounding it, cars. Dozens of them. Trophy cars, sports cars, luxury vehicles. Some pristine, some stripped for parts. Corvettes, Porsches, Bentleys, Ferraris. It was like stumbling onto a graveyard of stolen wealth. The mood shifted. Excitement turned to unease. Nobody with that many cars leaves them to rot unless something's wrong. Unless the kind of people who own them don't care what happens to trespassers. John wanted to check the camper parked nearby. Against my better judgment, I helped him open the door. Inside, evidence of life. Fresh food, bedding, fishing rods. Someone was staying there, recently. We backed out quietly, suddenly aware of how much noise we'd been making. Then came the smell. Behind a rundown shed, a stench of rot leaked from somewhere unseen. It was sharp, thick, the kind of odor that coats your throat and makes you swallow hard. We laughed nervously, muttering about bodies, but none of us really believed it. Not yet. Then, slam, the sound of a gate at the property entrance. We froze. It was over 1,000 feet away, but we could hear it. Then headlights appeared. Some kind of van rolling slowly along the dirt road toward us. We'd bolted into the trees, crashing through branches and brush until the lights vanished. Our lungs burned, our hearts hammered. But instead of leaving, we did something incredibly stupid. We decided to explore the other side of the property. By now, the light was draining fast, shadows stretching long and thin between the trees. We kept close to the tree line, whispering, stepping carefully through the high vegetation. Another camper appeared, massive, covered in vines like it had been swallowed by time. A jet ski sat nearby, half consumed by the same green growth.
We didn't dare go inside. Not this close to the main house. Instead, we moved around it, deeper into the property, closer to the house. And that's when we found it. The Ferrari. Even covered in dust, even cracked and rusting, it was magnificent. Almost surreal, like seeing a dead king still wearing his crown. John joked about taking a picture, but none of us dared. Too close, too risky. The horses nearby were restless now, shifting, snorting. Their unease bled into us. And then, another smell. This one was worse than the last, thick with decay, coming from a cooler hidden in the brush. We didn't open it. None of us wanted to. Not anymore. The mood had turned sharp, like glass underfoot. Jokes died in our throats. That's when Anthony heard something. We stopped, listened. A faint noise, threading through the trees, not quite footsteps, not quite voices, just something. The vegetation was tall, head high in places, so we found a rock to stand on for a better view. John climbed up first, squinting toward the house. Then he froze. Not a word, not a sound, just a face gone pale. "What is it?" I whispered. He didn't answer, so I climbed up next. What I saw still crawls through my nightmares. 50 feet ahead, beyond the brush, sat a man at a table, a black cat perched beside him, tail flicking slowly. But that wasn't what made my blood run cold. His face, it wasn't there. No eyes, no mouth, no nose, no hair, just a smooth white surface where a face should be. And beside him, A woman. She did have a face, and her eyes locked with mine. Then she moved, fast, running, not toward us, but around, like she was circling, trying to cut us off from the woods. I dropped from the rock and whispered harshly, "We need to go, now!" The three of us ran, moving low, keeping to the shadows. The sky had dimmed to a deep gray blue, the woods now darker than the house we'd just fled. But we weren't alone. Something followed. At first it was faint, brush shifting behind us, branches cracking. Then it grew louder, footsteps, heavy, deliberate. Then lighter ones, like someone or something keeping pace alongside. Once I swore I heard galloping. Once, a scream. But we didn't look back. Not once. The hike out felt endless. My lungs burned, my legs ached, but fear drove us. Fear and something else, an awful sense that whatever lived on that property wasn't meant to be seen. When we finally broke through the tree line and saw the faint glint of my car and the fading light, I thought we were safe. But even then, it felt like eyes were on us, watching from the shadows. We never went back. Not because of the smell, not because of the cars, not even because of the faceless man, but because of the way that woman looked at us, like we'd just made a mistake we could never undo.